Georgia is home to several thriving industries, but one unexpected industry might just be on the rise. As wineries and vineyards continue to grow in popularity in the Peach State, we're taking a look at what some locations in North Georgia have to offer.
Well, this was originally supposed to be a retirement project for my father. It was mainly my mother's idea to say, she wanted to move them up here into the beauty of the North Georgia mountains. They bought this 200 acres with no intention of starting a winery. We built the Octagon here at Yonah in 2014. Then we expanded to weddings with the Vineyard Ballroom in 2015. Then we went fully solar powered in 2018, which you might be able to see over there later. And then in 2020, the whole world changed. We added another 250 outdoor seats. And so now we have 350 outdoor seats here at Yonah, which also has solar panels on the top. And then 2024, last year, we expanded and added a food truck. So then now we are into 4 businesses that we feel like we're making up as we go. But it seems to be doing well. So that's how I ended up in the wine industry.
I started making wine as a hobby in 2005 and got into the business officially in 2012. Went from Chateau Lawn to Biltmore and was at Biltmore Winery for several years while I was working on this project, and then transitioned out of Biltmore into Cloudland to start this project back in 2020.
My wife and I planted blackberries in our farm and blueberries, and we just had too many. And we threw them in the freezers, and they filled up the freezers, and we made jams and jellies. So my wife said, hey, make some wine. So I made some wine. We had fun doing it, and my father-in-law, Jackie, who is always my supporter, of course, of me and my wife, thought it was pretty good. So he went around, he let people try it, and he was in a bluegrass band, and we ended up at Cavender Creek Vineyards in Dahlonega. And Claire Livingston owns it now, who's really cool, but a guy named Raymond Castleberry owned it before her. And so my father-in-law was playing his bluegrass band, and got to talking to Raymond, and he said, hey, my son-in-law makes wine, you should try it. So he brought him some wine, and then Raymond invited me out. So with a little bit of guidance from him, we just foolishly went into the wine industry.
The 3 owners have at least a decade of experience in the industry. They share how they've seen it grow since joining the winery community.
So in just a very short amount of time, we went from very, very few wineries, which were around 50, which doesn't sound like a few, but to the other neighboring states, it is very little, to having over 100. So that's probably the biggest thing.
Once you start seeing how beautiful it is and how interesting wine as a commodity is, I think it's a slow progress of people seeing the beauty and seeing the artistry that it takes to make wine. And there's a lot of things in it, since there's not an established community or not a lot of history of it. It's like it's only a pioneering spirit of people who would want to take on this industry, right? Because for years and years and years, everyone who wanted to start a winery is basically making it up as they go.
When I first started, I think there was maybe a dozen wineries in the state, and now we're bumping up close to 100 wineries now. So just the growth and variety of wines is really exciting to see.
The 3 owners shared what separates their spots from other locations in the area.
We wanted to really set out to define what Georgia wines are in the world. I always say, Chianti or Tuscany has Sangiovese, Napa has Cabernet Sauvignon, Oregon Pinot Noir, Champagne, sparkling wine. What does Georgia have? So if I'm going to a region, I want to taste that wine and taste that wine. Well, if you come to Georgia, what are you looking for? What do you want to taste? And what is a wine that can stand up to the industry as a whole? Not just a niche wine, that's regional, but what is a wine that can be consumed globally and be appreciated globally. So that was something really important to me, that, you know, I was seeing that we were planting all of the grapes that other people planted. The thing about grapes is they'll grow, but they like to be where they belong, and they will express themselves in, whether they like to be there or not, in the wine. And if they don't like to be there, they will tell you that when you drink the wine.
My winery, again, was an alternative winery. We prided ourselves in making a fine wine level or quality with fruit. So blackberries, blueberries, strawberries, peaches. And we were also on a mission to source our fruit from the state of Georgia. At the beginning, we were able to grow our own fruit and make enough wine, but as things just progressed, we couldn't grow enough. And we were still a small winery. But the great thing is Georgia's so geologically diverse. There's so much that can be grown here in the state. So we were very spoiled with the different options that we had. Everybody would tell me stories about their grandfather or their grandmother or their uncle or a neighbor who used to make fruit wines. So we just wanted to elevate what people's perception for fruit wine was, country wine. Yeah.
Miller explains that Georgia's wine industry was once on the rise before, but growth was squandered during the Prohibition era.
With Prohibition, Georgia was one of the first states to enact it. And before Prohibition, Georgia itself used to be one of the largest grape growing states in the country. And then Prohibition came, they tore up all the grapes. Alcohol was bad, so everything went moonshine and bootlegging and all that stuff. And then Georgia was one of the last states to repeal it. So all the history that we used to have, we kind of lost that. And so there wasn't a lot of people that were here and like passing the knowledge down. So a lot of that knowledge about how to grow and where to grow the fruit was lost. And when finally they repealed Prohibition, it took a long time for anyone to even start getting back into the grape industry, right? We stuck with spirits, and I think, even beer took a while to even get growing back here in Georgia. So to say that, when we started in 2007 and we were only the 12th winery, we're looking at almost 100 years of just lost time.
As the wine industry continues to evolve in Georgia, the owners share what they hope to see from producers and consumers alike in the future.
How we grow our food, how that fits into the community and our diets is becoming very important to consumers. And if you're not, as a grower, farmer, producer, paying attention to that, you're going to get left behind. And I think my fear for the Georgia wine industry is that we do get left behind.
There's so much good wine that's growing and being made here in the state of Georgia. We just need people to say, hey, I want to champion Georgia wines. I want to support local. I challenge everybody, go to a restaurant, look at the menu, and ask for Georgia wine. And just so to start spurring people's minds along, because there's so much good wine that's growing.
I would like to see more brand recognition. I would like to see more adoption of Georgia wine as in products, especially in Atlanta and our major cities, in Macon and Savannah. I would love to see the state really embracing their own commodities. There's a huge history of people are proud of Georgia peanuts and cotton and peaches and blueberries and chicken, right? It's like, oh yeah, we're great at this, we want to get all this stuff. And I would love to see within 10 years that same enthusiasm come to the Georgia wine industry and be like, wow, we didn't know we have great wine in Georgia. We should have it in all of our restaurants in all the cities, and have it be part of this, because when you invest in your own state, right, that money, those dollars keep being reinvested in other businesses and individuals. So I think it's a whole industry that is ripe to be invested in.